Folks, I'm the halftime entertainment. I'm here on behalf of Measure 56, which was referred to the voters by the legislature. And it basically does one thing. It deals with the rights of those who vote in elections and those who do not vote in elections. What Measure 56 does is modify the double majority requirement we've had in the Constitution since 1996, when it was approved by the voters, but it was buried deep in the fine print of a statewide property tax limitation measure. I say buried in fine print because at the same time there was a separate ballot initiative which also dealt with this double majority topic specifically. The voters turned it down 12% yes, 88% no. What the double majority does is give those who do not vote in elections the power to veto the decision of those who do on property tax measures submitted by local governments like school districts, cities, counties, park districts, whatever. The double majority provision works this way. In order to pass a property tax measure, supporters first must obtain the majority support of those who vote in an election, which is the way it's always been in Oregon. But the double majority adds another requirement that the turnout in that election has to exceed 50% of the voters, the registered voters. By the way, we've added 9,000 more of those since the May primary in this county. 9,000 more, which raises this bar 4,500 votes higher. This year, thanks to Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, still fighting for the nomination in May, the Oregon primary election vote turnout topped 50%, most unusual. Oregon's last presidential primary 4 years ago was different, was more typical. The nominees were known in March, 2 months before. So there was no campaign, no publicity, and there was very little action on the ballot for statewide offices. Voter turnout was 43%. That's where I got involved in this because in that same election, I was involved in a countywide effort to pass a library services measure. Sherry Kaluri remembers this because I tried to recruit her to run it. But she and Ted went to the Amazon, which was the right place to be. Anyway, the voters said yes. They wanted library services, but their decision was overturned by the stay-at-homers who just didn't care, and a relatively small group of people who discovered that they can defeat a measure by not voting. They're rewarded for not voting in elections. They're better off if they shred their ballots and just don't bother. What Measure 56 will do if it passes is amend the Oregon Constitution by providing 2 election dates each year, the 3rd Tuesday in May, the 1st Tuesday in November, in which the double majority requirement goes away. Those who actually vote in those elections will decide who wins them. 2 final notes. Some will complain, why are we voting on this? We've done this before, so forth and so on. The reality is that Oregonians have voted on the double majority twice. The first was in 1996, which I mentioned. The second time was in 1998. The legislature put a repeal measure on the ballot, standing alone. It lost 49% yes, 51% no. So this basically is the first time in 10 years this has come back to us as voters in the state. More importantly, years ago in Oregon's local governments could call a levy or a bond issue election anytime it wanted. This happened. All that was required was to publish a notice of it in the local newspaper, and low publicity and low turnout elections, I mean really low turnout elections, did occur. The legislature addressed this problem over the years by restricting the number of election dates local governments could use. First it was 6, and under current law it's 4 times a year. The other change was truly major. That was vote by mail. Since 1998, when an election is called, every registered voter gets a ballot in the mail. You've all seen the red print here. And if there's a tax measure on it, in red ink it says contains vote on a proposed tax increase. Proposed tax increase. Nobody's hiding an election when it occurs if you take the trouble to go to your mailbox. So that's the situation. I hope that you'll consider voting yes on Measure 56, and after the meeting I'd be glad to answer questions.